Should you visit Buenos Aires, the capital city of Argentina, or should you visit Madrid, the capital city of Spain instead? So in this video, I'm going to compare both cities in 10 different categories, and the 10th and final category will be which city I would return to if I could only go back to one of these two cities. So do stick to the end because that's when I'll give you my final opinion. Now, before I do get into the comparison, do let me know in the comment section if you've been to both Madrid and Buenos Aires, and do let me know if you personally have a preference out of the two cities. Which city do you personally prefer and recommend to other tourists? It will be interesting to see people's opinions because these two cities are definitely fantastic places to visit. So do let me know your opinion if you've been to both of them. And also, if you are trying to decide between visiting Buenos Aires and Madrid and you can't make your mind up, then obviously you're going to have the money to go to both places. And I recommend starting a side hustle, and I recommend starting this side hustle that you can see in the top of the description of this video and also the top of the comment section. That top link there will take you to Oddsmonkey. Now, Oddsmonkey is a very easy side hustle to use, and in fact, if you do click that link, you'll get a free £25 if you do sign up. So a free 25 British pounds, which is about $30 US. And of course, if you do follow the instructions on the Oddsmonkey website and sign up to the side hustle, it will teach you step by step how to make money by taking advantage of casinos and bookmakers. Now, it's not gambling and it really does work. So do check out that link if you do need a bit of extra money to fund your travels or to fund your current trip that you're currently on. Right then, so now it's time to get into the comparison between Buenos Aires and Madrid. And the first category that will compare both cities in is going to be things to do. Now, starting in Buenos Aires, there is lots you can get up to in Buenos Aires. You can go and visit the San Telmo market and go and get some food there, and also buy some garments and some clothes. You can go and check out the Recoleta cemetery, which is where lots of famous Argentinian people are buried. You can also visit one of the best libraries I've ever seen in the world, the El Ateneo Library. You can go and visit different neighborhoods of the city. You can go to La Boca and see all the colorful buildings, all the Messi and Maradona murals. You can go and see Palermo, which is where lots of the nightlife is. You can also go down to the famous Calle Florida street where you can do a bit of shopping. You can also take some good day trips as well. You can do a day trip to Tigre. You can even do a day trip to Uruguay as well. You can also check out some of the impressive buildings there, such as the Casa Rosada and also the Presidential Palace. If you do want more things to do, go and check out the description because I do have a link to where you can book tours of the city. I'll also put that link in the comment section too. You can use that link and you can book tours of, for example, the Boca Juniors Stadium, the River Plate Stadium. You can go on a sightseeing bus tour. There's lots of activities in Buenos Aires that you can do, and there's also lots you can get up to in Madrid as well. You can go and check out the Santiago Bernabeu Stadium for Real Madrid. You can go and see the Spanish Royal Palace. Now, Madrid is also really famous for its art galleries. Now, I'm not really personally an art gallery person, but if you do love your art galleries, you've got the Reina Sofia Gallery, you've got the Prado Gallery. I personally went to this gallery here called the Palacio de Velasquez. Again, I'm not really the biggest fan of art galleries, but if you do like art galleries, Madrid is one of the best places in the world for art. And also, you can just walk around the city centre. It really is a fantastic city centre in Madrid. You can go and see the Puerta del Sol. You've got the Plaza Mayor main square. It's just a really nice, walkable, vibrant city centre that you can just walk around, soak in the atmosphere, and just soak in the vibe of the city. And also, Madrid does have fantastic day trips as well. You can go to Toledo. Segovia is also another popular day trip too. So again, Madrid does have a good amount of things to do. But for this category, I'm going to have to say that Buenos Aires wins because I just feel like, personally, I felt like there was more to do in Buenos Aires. I feel like Buenos Aires is a bigger, more spread out city. I felt like there was a bigger variety and range of activities to do in Buenos Aires compared with Madrid. And also, Madrid is a very compact city, and most of the activities that you'll be getting up to in Madrid are kind of centered around the city center of Madrid. So it does feel like there are less things to do because you can get so much done within a couple of days in Madrid. Whereas Buenos Aires is bigger, it's more spread out, the activities around the city are spread out. And as I mentioned before, I just think overall there is just more to do in Buenos Aires. So Buenos Aires is going to win this category. Now, moving on to category number 2, and category number 2 is safety. So which city is the safer city to visit? I'm going to get straight to the point with this one. Madrid, for me, is the safer city of the two. Now, I'm not saying that Madrid is 100% safe and you don't have to take any precautions and you can just walk around and leave your phone and your laptop out everywhere and walk down dodgy dark side streets at night. No, it's a big city, you do need to take precautions, but I can say that Madrid does feel safer. See, the thing with Buenos Aires is that Buenos Aires is a poorer city. You can see in many areas of the city there is a lot of poverty, a lot of homelessness, a lot of rundown buildings. There were always beggars on every metro journey that I took in Buenos Aires. Unfortunately, there is just a lot of poverty, a lot of inequality in the city. All the locals in Buenos Aires will tell tourists to hide their phones and their expensive belongings because phone snatchings are really common, robberies are common. Now, I'm probably making Buenos Aires sound really bad. Honestly, I was there for a week and nothing happened to me at all. Nothing bad happened, no phone snatching, I wasn't robbed at all. And some of the neighborhoods in the city actually do feel pretty safe, especially Palermo. That's where I stayed, that's where I recommend you stay. I recommend you stay in Palermo. That's where all the bars are. It feels very nice, very cosmopolitan. You'll find nice higher end restaurants, coffee shops and bars there. But unfortunately, most places in the city are not like that. Most places you do need to watch out. I would recommend that you do take out a burner phone with you instead of your latest expensive iPhone. And you're probably wondering why some of the quality of these video clips here is not very good. Well, that's because I'm using my burner phone to record all these clips here because I left my expensive latest iPhone indoors. Now, most people don't use burner phones. You'll see people use really new latest smartphones, especially in somewhere like Palermo. You'll always see people walking about with their expensive iPhones. But I would recommend just having a burner phone in case the worst did happen. So Buenos Aires isn't bad, it's not a war zone, nothing bad happened to me, but I would say that Madrid is a safer city than Buenos Aires, so Madrid will win this category. But if you do want a few more Argentina safety tips, I did make this video here on safety in Argentina. Do check it out. I do go through a good number of safety tips that will keep you safe on your trip. So now moving on to category number 3, and this category is public transport. So which city has the better public transport? I'm going to get straight to the point again with this one. I think Madrid does have a better public transport infrastructure, which probably isn't surprising because it is the wealthier city. The metro system in Madrid is absolutely fantastic. It connects tourists with everywhere they want to get to. It connects you with the airport, connects you with the city centre, connects you with the Bernabeu. And also the main international bus terminal is connected with a metro station too. So everywhere you want to go to has a metro station. Also, buses are available to take throughout the city. You've got Uber, which is available in Madrid too. You've got trains as well that connect Madrid with the rest of Spain. I just think the infrastructure in Madrid is fantastic. Now, Buenos Aires does have good public transport. You do have a metro system as well in Buenos Aires, and it's a fairly decent metro system, but it's not as extensive and as quality as the Madrid one. But Buenos Aires does have a really good bus system that connects you all throughout the city. Uber is available too in Buenos Aires, and you're going to have to take an Uber to get from the airport to your accommodation in Buenos Aires. There are 2 airports in Buenos Aires, and neither of those 2 airports are connected with a metro station or with bus links, so you'll have to take an Uber or a taxi to either one of the airports. And talking about the metro system in Buenos Aires again, I actually did make a video on how to use the Buenos Aires metro system, so you can check out this video for more information on how you use that Buenos Aires metro system. But yeah, as I said, I do think Madrid overall does have a better public transport infrastructure, so Madrid will win this category. But just because Madrid has a better public transport infrastructure doesn't necessarily mean that it has a cheaper public transport compared with Buenos Aires. And that's what we're going to talk about now in category number 4, because category number 4 is prices. Which city has the cheaper prices? Now, a year or so ago, Buenos Aires was incredibly cheap because in Buenos Aires, they had 2 different exchange rates. They had the bank official exchange rate and they had the blue dollar rate, and the differences in the rates between those 2 exchange rates were absolutely huge. So as a tourist, you could take advantage of the so-called blue dollar rate because it was such a better exchange rate for tourists, and you could have a really affordable trip in Buenos Aires. However, at the end of 2023, the new president devalued the currency to a rate very, very similar to the blue dollar rate. So now you have a situation where the unofficial black market blue dollar rate is about the same as the official rate. So what that's meant is it's meant the inflation has got really high in the last few months in Argentina. So prices are really creeping up. When I was there in March 2024, the prices were virtually the same kind of prices that you would find in places like Poland, Hungary, Romania, places relative to Central and Eastern Europe. But it is certainly still cheaper than major destinations in Europe such as France, the UK, Germany, and also I would say Madrid as well. I would say Buenos Aires overall for food, drink, accommodation, and in particular for public transport, Buenos Aires does come out cheaper than Madrid still. Now, I know that I said that the Buenos Aires metro system isn't as good as the Madrid metro system, but the prices in Buenos Aires for a metro journey are absolutely much better than the prices of a metro journey in Madrid. A one-way metro journey in Buenos Aires back in March 2024 cost me 125 pesos. That's around 10 British pence. That's around 12-15 euro cents or 12-15 dollar cents. That is incredible value for money. There is nowhere in Europe where you're going to find a 15-cent metro journey. So that is really good value for money. Uber journeys in Buenos Aires are definitely cheaper than Madrid too. Also, food is still cheaper. There are some expensive restaurants, especially some of the tourist trap restaurants in Buenos Aires. Accommodation is still cheaper, getting pricier in the nicer areas like Palermo, I must say, but still cheaper than what you'd find in nice areas in Madrid. So Buenos Aires does win in this category for prices. It does have the cheaper prices than Madrid for now, but inflation is getting worse as every month goes by. So now then we're up to category number 5, and category number 5 is food. So which city has the better food? Starting with Buenos Aires. Buenos Aires is famous for steak, as is the rest of Argentina. I had a couple of steaks in Argentina. To be honest, I can't say I was blown away. It was good, tasty, but I can't say it was like absolutely life-changing. Now, another popular dish to eat out in Buenos Aires is Milanesa. You can either get it in a sandwich or just on its own. Milanesa is essentially a schnitzel, so either a veal or chicken schnitzel. Again, you can either have it in a sandwich or you can get it with toppings. The schnitzel is virtually treated like a pizza base. You can get different toppings. My favorite type of Milanesa is the Milanesa Napolitana. It's with tomato sauce, ham and mozzarella. Another popular thing to eat out there are empanadas. Empanadas are basically pastries filled up with different flavors. So you've got meat, you've got cheese and ham. You can get chicken too, so they are tasty, they are good to have as a snack. And another popular dish to eat out there is choripan, which is basically a hot dog or a burger, but with chorizo sausage instead. If you want the best choripan, make sure you head down to the San Telmo market. That's where you get the best ones. And also, if you are in Buenos Aires, you must visit the famous Pizza Guerin. It's where you get the famous Argentinian pizzas. They're very salty, they're very fatty, very unhealthy, very large, but they are worth it in my opinion. Now, as for Madrid, obviously Madrid, capital of Spain, you're going to be having Spanish tapas. You'll have all of your traditional tapas dishes such as the meat, the chorizo, the patatas bravas, the seafood, the prawns, the calamari. Now, surprisingly, Madrid has really good seafood. I know that Spanish food does have a lot of seafood, but Madrid being in the middle of the country, very inland, it's surprising how good the seafood is there. Do make sure that you try bocadillo calamares when you are in Madrid. So that's basically just a calamari sandwich. Make sure you go to somewhere called Bar La Campana. That's where they do the best ones. They're very, very popular and always very busy with the locals. Another tasty snack that I like to have in Madrid is hornazo Salamanca. Now, traditionally, hornazo Salamanca originates from the city of Salamanca, which is about 2 hours outside of Madrid, but it's close enough. It's kind of like a chewy pie filled up with pork and chorizo. And of course, you've got your other traditional Spanish dishes like paella and also jamon iberico sandwiches. And of course, don't forget to have your churros when you are in Madrid too. But as for the winner of this category for food, I think Argentina does have good food, but I feel like the food there can get boring quite quick. Once you've been there for a couple of weeks and had the same food every week, it does get a little boring. Sometimes some of the food there is a little bit bland, whereas with Spanish tapas, I never really get bored of Spanish tapas. So personally, for my taste, I would say that Madrid has the better food. There's just something really nice about going to a tapas bar in Spain, getting your tapas late at night in a busy traditional bar. I just think the food culture in Spain and Madrid is a bit more developed and a bit more traditional and a bit more fresh than the food you get in Argentina, which sometimes can feel a bit too processed. So I'm going to go with Madrid as the winner of category number 5. Now, category number 6 is going to be friendlier people. Which city has the friendliest people? Now, for me, this one is quite an obvious one. I'm going to have to go with Buenos Aires with this one. I think it's true that Argentinian people are just friendlier than Spanish people. They're more fun to be around. They're more welcoming. Now, actually, in some parts of Spain, people are quite friendly, especially if you go to the south of Spain, places like Sevilla, Granada, Malaga. But Madrid is much more like a standard big European capital city where people just aren't very friendly. Whereas in Buenos Aires, people are a bit more welcoming and a bit more intrigued and interested to meet foreigners. Now, the funny thing is that people from Argentina will say that Buenos Aires is one of the most unfriendliest places in Argentina. And I would say that there are actually other friendlier places in Argentina than Buenos Aires. But even still, even if Buenos Aires is the least friendly place in Argentina, I would still say people there are friendlier, more welcoming, more fun than the average person from Madrid. So I do think that Buenos Aires beats Madrid in this category. So now category number 7 is architecture. Now, both of these cities do have great architecture in places. Some of the architecture in Buenos Aires is very, very similar to the architecture that you may see in places like Paris. In fact, Buenos Aires is actually nicknamed the Paris of Latin America. Buenos Aires to me feels like a big mixture between Paris, New York, Bucharest and Madrid. That's kind of how I would describe the architecture style throughout the city. Some of the roads and some of the streets and some of the skyscrapers do make you think that you are in New York when you are in Buenos Aires. But there are also lots of rundown, old-looking, shabby tower blocks which are very reminiscent of Eastern Europe. Places like Sofia, Bulgaria, places like Bucharest, Romania. And when you go to places like La Boca or Palermo, you will see lots of vivid, colourful buildings. But I would say that Buenos Aires is a real mixture of very pretty architecture with quite a lot of ugly architecture too, and a lot of old communist looking buildings. I would say that Madrid city centre is overall prettier than what you'll see in Buenos Aires. I guess it is a bit of an unfair comparison because Madrid is an older, more historic city than Buenos Aires. So you do see, in general, more grand and more beautiful buildings in the city centre of Madrid. However, I will say that the city centre of Madrid does have quite bland architecture. It's very similar to what you'll see in Vienna or London, for example. Just a lot of bland, pale buildings, but very nice and impressive buildings too. But I do think I'll have to say that Madrid wins category number 7 because you barely see any ugly buildings in the city centre of Madrid. Most of the buildings there are very impressive, whereas in Buenos Aires you have a real mixture between impressive architecture, colourful architecture and some very ugly buildings and rundown buildings too. Moving on to category number 8 then, and this is language barrier for English speakers. There is a clear winner with this one. Madrid is the winner of this category because in Madrid, most people can speak English and have a conversation in English. In the restaurants, bars, hotels, everyone will be able to speak English to you. But that is just not true in Buenos Aires. Most people cannot speak English. And even if you do meet people who can speak English, usually it's quite broken. If you are coming to Buenos Aires or Argentina, you're going to need to know some basics of Spanish. Now, you don't need to be conversational in Spanish, but you do need to know the bare basics to get by. Now, if you do want to know what Spanish you need to know when you come to Argentina, if you go to this video here, I actually kind of gave like a mini Spanish lesson in this video where I gave you some key phrases and some key words that you do need to know when you are out in Buenos Aires. However, if you are learning Spanish and if you do want to practice your Spanish, then Buenos Aires would be a better choice because most people, again, can't speak English. So you're going to have to practice your Spanish. And the Spanish out there is a lot more difficult. It's very fast. People do say that Buenos Aires in Argentina does have one of the most difficult Spanish accents in the world. But if you can't speak Spanish and if you're too lazy to learn some basics, well, you're going to really struggle out in Argentina because not many people could speak English. Now, moving on to category number 9, and this is nightlife. Which city has the better nightlife? Now, this is a very challenging one because both Buenos Aires and Madrid have some of the best nightlife in the world. They are known as two of the best nightlife cities on the planet. Starting with Madrid, most of the nightlife there is centered around the city center. You'll find lots of bars, cocktail bars, clubs. I definitely recommend checking out this bar here called Kaya 365. It's a very colorful and kind of trippy bar. Really do recommend it though. It's a very cool vibe. I think Madrid really shines with its more high-end nightlife. So it's fancy cocktail bars, fancy clubs, proper nightclubs, dancing clubs. I do think Madrid might be the best city in Europe for going out clubbing, dancing, and if you are looking for an experience where you can go out clubbing and dancing, go down to the description or the comment section. You will see a link to where you can book a Madrid pub crawl. Really do recommend it. They take you all around the city to different bars and clubs, so it's a good thing to do if you're not sure of which clubs to go to. Now, as for Buenos Aires nightlife, Buenos Aires is really good at its pubs and bars, especially in the Palermo area. As I mentioned before at the start of the video, Palermo is kind of the center of nightlife in the city. I feel like the nightlife in Buenos Aires is more social. People are more social. People are going out, meeting new people. And also, if you're into craft beer, there's a really big craft beer scene in Argentina and Buenos Aires too. I would say the venues in Buenos Aires for clubbing probably aren't as good as Madrid. I'd say Madrid has better overall clubbing experience venues, but for bars, cocktail bars, drinks, Buenos Aires is fantastic. So who is the winner at category number 9? The answer is it depends, I think. So if you are looking for bars, meeting new people, having a few beers with your mates or having a few beers with some new friends, making new friends, being social, having a good fun time with new people, I think Buenos Aires probably wins for that. But if you're looking for better quality nightclubs and dancing clubs and maybe more high-end nightlife, I would say Madrid probably wins for that. And now finally, category number 10. Which city would I return to if I could only go back to one of these two cities? This is a very difficult one. My recommendation, go to both, go to the description, go to the comment section, click on that Skyscanner link and book your flight to both of them. But if you could only choose one, I think from a tourist perspective, Buenos Aires is a better tourist destination than Madrid. I think there's more things to do. I think it's a better tourist city, but Madrid is safer. I would say Madrid is probably more livable. If you asked me, if I could only go back to one, I'd probably say Madrid because I'd rather live in Madrid, but Madrid is more expensive. But I do think Madrid's got better food, but I do think Buenos Aires is a more fun place to be. I think right now I'd have to say I'd rather go back to Madrid, but then again, that's because I haven't been to Madrid for nearly 2 years, whereas I was literally in Buenos Aires a month ago. So I would say for a tourist, Buenos Aires, but for living, Madrid. That's what I'm going to say. Hopefully that's helped, and hopefully you have found the video today enjoyable and useful, and hopefully you have got some value from it. If you have, do remember to click the like button. It really does help out the video, and it does allow other people a chance to see this video because it does promote the algorithm for the video. And make sure you click subscribe for more travel content. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in my next video.